comrades, and welcome to another episode of We Read It One Night, the podcast where two sisters finally finish talking about the Twilight Saga. Welcome to part 2 of Breaking Dawn by Stephenie Meyer. In today's episode, we call out the greatest plot twist in cinematic history, and please, listener, if you haven't seen Breaking Dawn Part 2 yet, watch it before listening to this episode, because you don't want that spoiled for you. It's actually just objectively incredible. So, hope you enjoy this episode. I know that we are both a little sad and a little happy to finally be wrapping up the Twilight Saga, and I can't wait for you guys to see what big YA series we will be chatting about next year. Don't forget to leave us a rating and review, and enjoy the show.
So I really went wild at the dollar store just now. Remember, Steph and I spent $11.93, and we were like, we shouldn't have restrained ourselves. Well, I did not restrain myself, and I did end up spending $40. But listen, I am now the proud owner of at least 300 feet of tinsel. That's all I have to say. And 8 stockings, and like a million, and a Santa countdown to Christmas, like clock
You
thing.
live in a studio apartment. Where are you putting
It's for the
all
office.
this?
It's for the office. Dollar Tree is where it's at for Christmas decorations, people. Like, not Dollar General. It's just not as good. And it's like more expensive, I think. Like, it's not a true dollar store. Dollar Tree is a true dollar store, and you can get so much Christmas stuff for so cheap. So, highly recommend.
Thank you.
Anyway, should we tell about Bob Vendetta's mishap?
Oh, no. Our grandparents are flying back to Europe now because they were here for a month. And they're flying back, and they drove all the way to JFK Airport yesterday. And then
which is like 2 to 3 hours. Like, it's a trek.
Yeah. And then I got a call approximately 2 to 3 hours after they left from our mom being like, the flight is tomorrow. From our mom sounding like he was gonna cry. Like,
because he really hates JFK. And listen, I'm in a way grateful, because if he goes back to hating JFK fully, that means he can't hate Newark, and he can like stop getting mad every time I fly into Newark, and he has to, and like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
But yeah, so they had to drive back again today.
Oh my God.
It literally was just like the wrong day. Like, it wasn't like the flight had even moved. It was always
right.
today.
And they just were like convinced, because I think they saw like what day they were arriving, and for some reason Baba was like, that's the day we're leaving, because they said this date like a while ago, because I remember, because I was flying back the day after, like, as it turns out, the same day. But anyway, check your flight details, people. Listen, a day before is still better than a day after. Like, at least you're a day early, not a day late. So
yeah,
that's something to be thankful for.
Anyway, check your flight details, kiddos. While you're on the internet checking your flight details, also go to the Quileute Move to Higher Ground Fund website, which is linked in the description, and donate to the Quileute Move to Higher Ground Fund, which I forgot to talk about in the last episode, but we've talked about in literally every Twilight episode that we have done, because they made billions of dollars off of this franchise.
Billions?
And the Quileutes made nothing.
Billions?
I'm including like the movies, the books, the merch. Like, you're telling me all of that?
No way. I mean, it's still a lot, though. No, you're right. You're right. Worldwide, just the movies grossed $3.3 billion.
Yes.
Holy shit.
Just the movies.
Wow.
That's not even counting the books and the merch.
Wow. I'm sorry. I was wrong.
I don't doubt Twilight supremacy.
So we are now on part 2, or rather part 3, actually, of Breaking Dawn, which starts with an iconic quote, truly iconic, which I think for years I thought was like a quote that Stephenie Meyer wrote. And I was like, damn, Stephenie, that's good. It's actually Orson Scott Card, but it's so good. Personal affection is a luxury you can have only after all your enemies are eliminated. Until then, everyone you love is a hostage, sapping your courage and corrupting your judgment.
Nice.
It's like, damn, Stephenie, who are your enemies?
She really I bet she has many.
I always wondered why. So Renesmee is a girl, obviously, right? But like this whole time, Bella was convinced that she was going to be a boy. Well, obviously, because Jacob couldn't be gay and a pedophile. Like, come on, not the it's involuntary.
No, let's not go into that territory.
And I always wondered like why Stephenie had Bella be like so convinced that she was gonna have a boy just to pull like the switcheroo. And you always see people being like, yeah, Bella would have been like such a hashtag boy mom, like so insufferable, which I agree. Like as in character, she could have, but I don't think that means that like did she do it so that like we wouldn't see Jacob imprinting coming? Like as if like
yeah.
I was like, girl, because like, girl, you did not have to worry about us. Like, you did not have to worry about us.
No one thought you were going to be that insane.
No.
Stephenie. No one thought you were going to go off the rails that hard.
But then I thought of another possibility that like, I don't actually, like, I see people saying like, oh, it's because like Stephenie is like such a like boy mom, whatever. Because she does actually only have boys. Like, I think she has 3 sons, right?
Yeah.
But I actually
I mean, that's the whole origin of Bella's name is that she never had a daughter.
No, exactly. I was going to say, so I actually don't think that's true. I don't think Stephenie, I'm sure she obviously is a literal mom of boys, but like, I don't think she like is someone who wanted only boys. I think she really wanted a daughter because she had that name picked out, right? And she's like really mad that she didn't get to use it for like a real child. And I think maybe she like made Bella really want a boy in like a weird way to like assure her kids, like, don't worry, like I'm still like, I did actually really want to like, you know what I mean? It's like you're protesting a little too much.
Guys.
Yeah, like I'm getting see, Bella wants boys. I definitely only wanted boys. No, I'm not saying Stephenie Meyer is like resents her children for being boys or anything. No. I'm just saying like I don't know. Like I feel like she definitely also wanted a girl. Like she would have wanted a girl.
Do you think? I guess they would be. I feel like all of Stephenie Meyer's kids are like adults now.
Oh, absolutely. I think they're younger than we are, I think.
They're younger than us. I feel like they were all maybe the oldest was like 99
in high school.
And the rest were like in the 2000s.
Oh, yeah, right. So they're probably they probably all have like graduated college by now.
That's weird. Imagine like going to school with one of Stephenie Meyer's. Would you even know? Is that something that they would tell people? Is that something they would use to like pick up chicks?
Maybe. I mean,
it would work on me.
I mean, they're rich, right? Like, of course it would. Yeah, right.
Like it'd work on me. 100%.
Yeah, I know. I hope they're into it. Like that would.
And listen, Stephenie Meyer's she's not bad looking. Like she definitely, I feel like she could produce like
good-looking children,
some tolerably attractive children.
But if not, then they always have that to fall back on. I mean, I hope they're proud of it. Like that's, I mean, for better or for worse.
Their mom created like single-handedly reinvented the YA genre.
Right. Yeah, I know. I hope they're not like sexist about it. Her own children.
Who knows, man. Anyway, speaking of Mormonism, the beginning of this part is a lot real bad first-person pregnancy trauma. So if that's something that's bad for you, probably like skip 10 minutes ahead. Skip that chapter entirely in the book. Frankly, you don't need to know it. You already got like the important stuff from Jacob's POV.
Remember for a second before I remembered about this, we were saying like, oh, maybe she like, why did she make it the Jacob thing? And it's like, oh, it would have been like a great way to like not have to avoid any like first person pregnancy unpleasantness. But no, we get a recap. We get to relive it twice. We get to live it twice and then relive it.
We get to live it twice. And I feel like, I don't know, as I was reading this, I was like, I just feel like Stephenie is like really in her flow as she's writing this scene. Like I just felt like this scene like just poured out of her, which like makes me really worried for like her own birth history. Like if this was very easy for her to write. Like Stephenie, are you okay? Did you get like the therapy you needed? Birth trauma is real.
I know. Oh my God. Like speaking of the chainsaw thing, wait,
we weren't speaking of that.
But everyone knows by now why chainsaws were invented. It was to help in giving birth, to saw your pelvic bone, which honestly, like when you say it like that, it sounds really, really bad and grotesque. And yes, they were doing this to people without anesthesia, But when you think about it, it's called a symphysiotomy, and it actually is still performed in some countries in Africa and like rural areas. Because when you think about it, the first time I saw it described, it was like they removed part of your pelvic bone. And I was like, well, you can't fucking, like, how you're never going to walk again and like never going to survive that. But apparently, like, for most people, within like 2 weeks, you can walk again because they don't like remove it. They just like cut it. And it's because when C-sections didn't exist, there's no option besides like going through the birth canal. So like if the baby is stuck or like it's in breach or like it's too big or whatever, like you have to get it out somehow. So, but you basically like cut the pelvic bone to like stretch it a little bit. I know. But before the chainsaw, they were doing it with like kitchen knives. So like it's an improvement.
Jesus Christ.
I didn't research this for that long, but it's not as like horror show as it sounds, I don't think. But
oh. Anyway, yeah.
Anyway.
That's going to be a problem for you. No chainsaws are used in this. It's just Edward's teeth.
But they
which
honestly
is
should have
basically
been.
the
Yeah.
same thing.
Like, why didn't they? Like, yeah, they could have fucking done this like C-section thing at any point, right? There was no reason to wait for Bella to break her fucking spine instead. But anyway.
Yeah. Anyway.
Moving
Okay,
past
so
that. Everyone's alive.
we already know what happened. Jacob is a pedophile now. One thing I would like that is funny, like, so they inject venom everywhere into Bella and also specifically into her heart, right? And so like she's Bella's POV, she's like, oh, there's something like warm in my heart that I'm like I'm holding on to like for life. And she thinks it's Renesmee, but it's actually just like the venom burning through.
And then she's like, oh,
she's
it's
like,
so
it's too
warm.
hot.
It's hot. It's hot. It's like grabbing the wrong end of a curling iron and then worse. Like,
Jesus Christ.
That was a good description, Stephenie, but like not good, not something I want to experience.
Yeah.
Oh and then she can't fucking scream because of the morphine. Like she can't move or scream.
And then because she's such a fucking martyr, by the time the morphine wears off, she's like, well, now I can't scream because I have to spare baby Edward's feelings.
Yeah.
And make him and basically lie to him for the rest of their lives that the morphine did in fact make her feel no pain. Yeah.
She's like, if we ever have to turn another vampire, I'll tell Carlisle. But like, unclear if she actually would, because that would basically mean telling Edward, because Carlisle, his thoughts. Insane. They could be like, not, I don't know. And Bella's like, I've had morphine and venom together in my system, but like they all thought that it would make her not feel pain. But she's like, I've had it before, so I know the truth. Like it doesn't have any effect except for when they give her this much and she can't move. When has she had it in her system?
Twilight, when she gets bitten by James and they put morphine in her.
They took the time to put morphine before sucking it out?
No, not before. Carlisle starts to fix her leg, which is like shattered and broken. And he gives her morphine for that. And then he's like, Edward, while I'm fixing her leg, because she's going to bleed out, you need to suck out the venom.
Right. Okay. Oh my God.
Anyway.
And she's like, now I can't scream. I can't tell him to kill me.
Jesus. So yeah, Bella just has to like stand there silent, and she's just like listening to all these people like talking around her. Yeah. And like Edward and Carlisle are talking about like, the like wild situation that's like going on or whatever. And he says, quote, I'd love to flog them both. And like, because Carlisle was like, I wonder how Bella will react. Like, it's such a unique situation. And Edward's like, I'd love to flog them both. And I'm like, okay, one of them is Jacob. Who is the other one? Renesmee?
Rosalie. I know. I think I had the same thought, but it's Rosalie because they're probably like being mean to each other.
Yeah, but listen, Rosalie is entirely in the right. Team Rosalie this whole fucking time, Edward.
But Edward's never going to be Team Rosalie is the thing.
I know, but it's so fucked up. Like,
I know. And then like Edward and Alice are like standing there talking about when Bella's going to be done cooking, but they don't say it out loud. She's like, oh my God, like fucking say it. I want to know how much.
Her finger twitches irritably and Edward is like, Bella.
I know. Oh my God.
So she's finally done cooking. She wakes up. In the movies, it's that excellent dramatic shot. The first movie ends with like Bella's eyes opening and they're red. It's like, and it's like a thud, like it's that sound effect. It's like a Anyway, they really like went all out for the Breaking Dawn movies, and I really appreciate it. So Bella wakes up and she can see 8 colors in the rainbow now, like a shrimp. So that's exciting. Like those shrimp that can see like a whole other spectrum.
No, I know that some animals can. I don't know about shrimp.
Yeah, specifically these shrimp. That's the example that always comes out. There's like this specific type of shrimp. I don't think it's all shrimp. But I was like, so vampires are genetically similar to shrimps. Got it.
Shrimp have 25 chromosomes or whatever.
Do shrimp even have chromosomes?
Unclear. I'm sure. Yeah.
Do all
They have
animals
genetic
have
material.
chromosomes?
Yeah.
Like, is that how everyone does it?
Yeah. If they have DNA, they have chromosomes, right? Yeah.
I don't know. What? That's what I'm
Yeah.
wondering. Like, is it
Well,
or chromosomes just like an advanced, like a more advanced?
Fungus. Oh, well, if it's an animal, if it's a eukaryote. I don't know. I don't know.
Anyway, Bella wakes up.
She wakes up. She can like immediately, like, yeah, she's getting used to her vampire body. She's like, the second I considered standing up, I was already erect. Like, not good enough word.
So is that like is that how Edward gets hard?
He instantly thinks about it. The second he thinks that. Oh my god.
Yeah, so Edward like touches her. He like squeezes her hand or something, and she's like, a threat. And she gets up and she like growls at him. And obviously she's like very, upset that she growled at him. But honestly, like I really wish that she'd like taken this one opportunity to like body him, just like just like smash him through the floor.
Yeah. It's like she's like a cat. This is very cat like sudden. Like and Edward looks different to her.
Yeah, wait. We're talking about that's why. This is why I just realized, right? Why Jacob's POV could only happen in this book. It's not just because of the pregnancy thing. So Jacob's POV is essentially the POV from a dog, right? And so, but this entire book series is cat-centric. Mm-hmm. So Stephenie had to balance it out by essentially having the last like 40% of this book be from the perspective of a cat. Now that Bella's officially a cat.
Good. Yep. Checks out.
Yep.
Yeah. So she's looking at Edward, and Edward like looks different to her. Like, and she's like, oh, he's like so much more beautiful, whatever. Like he's more beautiful than she could have thought. What if like she like became a vampire and then realized that he was like really ugly? She's
like, oh damn, like he's like kind of, I should have gone for Carlisle.
He's like very mid. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And that's a very basic vampire. What the fuck?
Yeah. And then she starts fucking jumping Edward in front of the others. Like she's like literally like about to like fuck him in front of everyone. Meanwhile, like she like still hasn't seen the fucking baby. Like while she was baking, she was like, where's the baby? Like, why isn't Edward with her? And I was like, well, because of course, like, why would either of her parents like give a fuck about Renesmee? Like,
no,
couldn't be me. But
before they start making out, he goes up to her. Rachel, we come full circle because he goes up to her and he strokes her cheek with the back of his fingers. Just like in Twilight.
Oh, that's amazing.
Except he doesn't run away this time.
Oh, wow. And like the fact that they even let her be in the same house as this like baby instead of like moving either her or the baby, because she can smell, like she's about to smell those fucking hikers, or move her farther away from like a population center, because she's like what, maybe 10-20 miles from Forks. Like she can smell those rock climbers from like really far away. I don't know. Like,
yeah. I get they're silly anyway. Bella wants to bone because nothing can hold Horny Bella down. I do think it is incredibly disgusting that the first thing that Bella says as a vampire is "I love you" to Edward. Like for some reason that really was really disappointing to me.
Why?
That was like I just like, that's how you begin your vampire script, by telling this like loser boy I love you. Like
that's how it started.
Rude.
I mean, yeah,
I know it's a romance, but like for some reason I was very disappointed that like Edward gets her first words.
Well, don't worry, because then she's about to quote momentarily think of the baby. Like she's like, the baby couldn't breathe, and then like Edward's like, don't worry, she's okay. Like, and he's like, Edward, quote, said her name the way devout people talk about their gods, which is like the one and only time Edward is like, we see Edward give a fuck about Renesmee in any way, shape, or form. Like,
yeah. Anyway, Eddie Boy still can't read her mind. He's very sad about that. My question is, how long do you think it would have taken for him to get tired of her as a vampire? Like, if he could have read her mind now, or like, how long do you think it would have taken him to regret it?
With that. Yeah, she better be careful with that, because she like lets him at the end.
This is like the only thing you got going for you.
Yeah. She also like she can't really like remember her human memories. Like it's like quote uncomfortable, like squinting through muddy water, which is like so weird and like fucked. I don't know. Like she just becomes like a different person. What?
Well, it's because I think it's meant to be because her senses are just so much
Well,
more
I
dulled.
know, but like still,
So now it's time for Bella to go hunting because she's not thirsty at all. She's like, oh, I want to see the baby.
she
And then
keeps
they're like, oh no,
forgetting.
you
Yeah,
must be thirsty. And she's like, oh, fucking hell. Why did you, like,
yeah.
my horniness was holding it at bay and now you got to bring it up again.
Mm-hmm.
So they go hunting, and Bella is dressed like a slut when they go
Bella's like
hunting. She's dressed in a very tight blue dress
they
for some
jump out of
reason.
the window like so that they won't like walk past the baby. And Bella's like still scared of heights, even though she's like a vampire, which makes sense. Like I feel like
I mean,
that
fair
that's
enough.
very
Yeah.
realistic. Like you wouldn't just like immediately get over that, no matter how like.
Right, except so like that's realistic, but then like so they're going on like they're going hunting and she's like running and like experiencing who vampire speed and strength and whatever and she's like, "Oh, this is great." And then like they start like Edward is like what do you smell? And like he's like directing her on how to hunt, but basically she's like and then like my instincts take over and she like basically like knows how to do it like immediately. And like
Mm-hmm.
I understand like instincts to an extent, but like baby wolves still need to be taught how to hunt, like like
Yeah.
baby lions need to be taught. Like you don't just like know that coming out of the womb.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
there's no reason for Bella to know how to hunt, like have any prior knowledge of that. Like I don't know.
Right.
Whatever. So I
Yeah.
was like, is she instinctive? Like, is it pure instinct or not, Stephenie? Like, pick a side. Pick a side.
Right, right. Well, it's like instinct once you let it be instinct or something. Like she was still like thinking too much about the jumping. I don't know. So then she's like, they're about to go for some like fucking deer or whatever. And as she's like in hunting mode, she smells people like rock climbers. She starts like running towards them, like, in a frenzy or whatever. And Edward like tries to come after her and she almost attacks him. Once again, doesn't. But that's like enough of an interruption for her to stop and like run away.
Because she pauses to like defend herself. She's like, there's a
Right.
strange person chasing me. And like, honestly, like, I too would fear for my life if Eddie Boy were chasing me. Like,
Well,
whether
yeah.
like even if Edward were like a human chasing me and not a vampire, I still would be like, absolutely not, like
What?
horrified.
And then like he's like, wow, like you're so amazing. Like you like were able to stop. And then they're like she's like horny for Edward again, still before having hunted. Like this is
Like
all
over the
before having
corpse of no, I think
hunted.
she's eaten like a mountain lion. It's like over the
No, not
corpse of like
yet.
a
No, no, no,
mountain
not
lion.
yet.
She's like,
Not
let's
yet.
fuck.
Not yet. She's like, wow, I just want to fuck Edward. And then it's the mountain lion thing. And Edward's like, oh, even though I know you're a vampire now, like I'm still nervous, like watching you hunt the lion.
Oh my god. And listen, I've always defended Bella and Stephenie against everyone calling her like a Mary Sue or whatever and like, all of that like sexist and rude criticism, but like Bella being like the best newborn vampire ever TM'd, like to the extent where they're like, maybe your superpower is super self-control, is just it's a bold move for Stephenie to take. It's a bold because like that's like it slided a little bit into Mary Sue land.
Well, the major criticism, well, I mean, I guess major criticism, the one pro Jacob TikTok account, Corinne, that we follow, like she always says it's because Edward and Bella are supposed to be like love conquers all or whatever, but like Bella doesn't ultimately have to give anything up. Like there's no like difficulty at all. It's just like, oh, like this is amazing. Like I'm a vampire now. I can be with Edward. And I mean, I don't know if I totally agree with that. It's definitely not that there's like no difficulty at all in her like being with Edward, because like the fucking like Volturi or whatever. But like as far as like being a vampire, like she still gets to like keep Charlie. She doesn't murder anyone. She doesn't like
Hasn't been a year
yeah.
when the book ends, so
Well, sure, but it can still happen after a year, but like never really
yeah.
ends. But yeah. Now they're making out on top of the mountain lion corpse. And Edward's like right. She's like totally ready. She's like, this is what I'm doing all day. And he's like, Rasputin, trying to figure out what I wanted next. And then she's like, it was hard to decide what I wanted.
She has to think about
Renaissance, I said ruefully.
do I want to see my child that I have not yet seen? Or do I want to make out with this incredibly mid boy? Toughest decision of my life. This is why, like, no matter how hard Stephenie tries to make us believe that, like like Bella thought she didn't want kids, but then like she realized she really did want kids, and she's like so glad that she has revenge. I don't believe it, because this is a constant theme throughout this entire part of the book, in which Bella is constantly like, to see my baby or to make out with Edward. Who knows? Such a
Right.
hard
And
decision.
oh my God. And like she literally,
To
I
see
don't
my
think they
baby who I
ever,
think at this point might die in 7 years.
right. Like they never, I don't think she spends a single night with her, like ever. That's another thing
No.
Bella doesn't have to give up. Like she never has to be like a newborn mom. Not that, I mean, she's a vampire, so like she wouldn't have to sleep, but like, I don't know. Like there's
Yeah,
no
and they
like
do
difficulty
acknowledge
at
that. They do
all.
call that out. Like, ha
Right.
ha
What?
ha. The
Oh,
only
yeah,
two
yeah, yeah.
parents who don't have to sleep, and our child already sleeps through the night or whatever.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, okay. So now it's time to go back to like, and she's Edward's like, oh, Jacob's there. And she's like, wow, like, I wonder why Jacob's there. Like, it's so great that we'll still be friends, but it wasn't like we'll be spending much time together. Ha ha ha. Which I say,
I'm gonna
why
throw
not? Like,
up.
if, yeah, like,
I throw up.
Renesmee aside. Anyway, they rock up and Jacob's there. And
Fucker.
he's like, use me as a test before the baby. And Bella's like, well, he smells bad, so it doesn't make sense why he would be a good test. She's like, I wonder, why is he doing this? Like, why would he care so much? Like, maybe now that I've just physically discussed him enough, we can actually be friends.
Blech. I can't even begin to express the amount of rage that I feel every time in this scene that Jacob tries to get between Bella and her child.
I
That Jacob
know.
tries to get between Bella and her child because he wants to fuck her child. Gross. Gross.
I know. So Bella survives the test. She doesn't kill him yet. And then Renesmee is there with her gaze that's, quote, not at all childlike. And this is where the like true Renesmee horror show starts, because like this bitch is just like, she's not a baby. She's like, and what I picture is like in the Renaissance or the Middle Ages, when they didn't know how to draw babies, or I don't know if it was they didn't know, but they intentionally would draw baby Jesus as like a
A
small
little
human
adult.
with adult like proportions, right? And like a
Yeah.
weird ass head, like a bigger head. That's Renesmee. She has
Yeah.
all her teeth.
Horrifying.
She is 2 days old. She has all her teeth.
The worst part is in the movie, like they CGI'd her. They CGI'd her face onto a baby, like the same actress's face, and like tried to like make her look young. Like instead of just hiring different actresses, just hire like 3 different do a baby, do like a 3-year-old, and then like hire the final Renesmee actress. Like why?
I don't know.
They do a montage of like her growing up too, so it's not even we get to see, like bad decision. Once again, the Twilight team gets creative, and this time it doesn't work out.
So she's meeting Renesmee. Renesmee is a full adult.
They were meeting like goes fine, other than the fact that like my justice tingle becomes a justice seizure every time
I
someone to like
know. I think I've like
stop
finally
Bella
become
from
like a
meeting her
nerd to it.
child. But like she's fine. She doesn't want to eat her. She's like she doesn't smell that good. Like it's fine.
She finds out about Renesmee. Renesmee has a gift, TM.
Gross.
And it's basically like reverse mind reading, shielding. Like she can show her thoughts to anyone, like by touching them. They
She
can,
can
like, see what
force
she's
herself
thinking.
upon.
Which honestly,
everybody.
the number of times that a day that I wish I had that talent, like not specifically in the Renesmee context, but the number of times I wish I could just like give someone a partial brain transplant, like directly show them what I'm trying to like tell them, like describe,
Uh-huh. But she has
Like,
to
that would be
touch them though, which
so
is kind of lame.
I know, but it would still be so useful. Like, and then Bella figures out that Jacob imprinted and finds out that he gave Rasputin a nickname, which honestly is a huge improvement. Like, literally anything would be better than Renegade, but like he calls her Nessie, which is I think
know,
is actually
but like
cute.
rude. But like rude to like
Yeah, but whatever. Like in this situation, yeah, I mean, no, I get it, but like also,
absolutely not.
it's such a better name. Like, come on.
Anyway, we get the classic line. Classic
You
line.
nicknamed my daughter after the Loch Ness monster?
Monster. The scene, the movie is incredible. There's just no way to deliver that line in a way that sounds like serious, but like Kristen Stewart sure does try hard. She tries her best.
Wait, what do you mean? I feel like it's a good line.
No, I know, but like it's a good line in the book, but just like in the movie,
You
I just
nicknamed
like
my daughter after the Loch Ness monster?
I know, but the like in the like half vampire
You
growl,
nicknamed
like
my
ready to pounce.
daughter after
Okay.
the Loch Ness.
This isn't a scene study, Rachel. You don't
Anyway,
have to keep saying it different ways.
and pounce she does, except that poor little baby Seth Clearwater jumps in front of stupid Jacob and Bella breaks his fucking collarbone, which is really rude. Also, this is when they decided to tell us that vampire venom kills werewolves, which
Yes.
like doesn't it seems like such a huge like flaw in the werewolf design.
Yep.
Like they're literally all the vampire has to do is get a little chomp chomp. Like the
Yep.
Volturi better not ever find out about that.
Yep. It's very
Like I get
what a
that
weakness.
I know. I get that it shouldn't like turn them into vampires, but like they should be able to like fight it off. It shouldn't kill them. Like that's just saying it's better to be dead than a vampire. But like which they do
Yeah.
believe.
I mean, they
Except
do
for
believe
Bella,
that.
apparently. But like
Yeah, I'm honestly upset that Jacob doesn't even get a little bit injured. I'm also upset that while Bella is once again not allowed to hang out with her child after her quote temper tantrum, her entirely justified angry reaction to
mhm.
Jacob wanting to fuck her baby, despite
Mhm.
him, he's like, no, it's okay. Like, I don't want to fuck your
All I
baby.
want is for her to be safe and happy.
It's like, okay, yeah, but like 10 years from now, you're gonna want to fuck her.
Right.
That's the
And
whole
he's
point.
like, yeah, and he's like, you always said I should be part of your family. And she's like, yeah, not as my son-in-law. And he's like, ew, how can you even think about that? But like, that literally
That's
is
the
the
point.
plan. And
That's
also,
that's the plan. There's no
I
other
just
plan.
don't understand. Like, okay, if you could not you really can't delete the baby thing, but if you could somehow delete the baby thing, this is kind of like an it's still stupid, but it's like a neat way to like make everyone happy and like whatever, like keep Jacob part of the picture. But like it's right, it's sitting right there. Oh, all I want is for her to be safe and happy. Like
No.
whatever's best for her is what I want to do. Oh,
No.
turns out what's best for a baby is for me to fuck off for 20 years and let her have a
Shouldn't.
normal
I
life and then
know.
come back maybe and then like
It's
see if
just
she wants to
like
get to know me. Like
it's
it
just so
doesn't
bold because we are introduced to imprinting by it being described as love at first sight but stronger. It is introduced to us in a romantic context.
I know.
There's no separating that.
When did she bring in the baby thing? That she started setting that up at Eclipse, right?
Eclipse.
Okay.
I
God.
think, yeah.
And again, it's sitting right there. Like
But also, Renesmee does bite Jacob, and that's how they know she's not venomous. With Bella's like, "Oh, I already know that, but I'm pretending amnesia, so like I can't tell them that."
right.
Um, and I just
God.
like really do appreciate the fact that Renesmee does bite Jacob on the reg, and presumably like bites him enough to cause pain because like she's a little
Right.
weird vampire freak. At least he gets that. I do wonder what's gonna happen when Renesmee grows up because I just feel like there's no way. There's no way that Ragnarok grows up as like a well-adjusted child,
Oh
you know?
no.
Like there's no
Absolutely
way she
not.
grows up like all of the Cullens are weird as shit, but like this bitch doesn't even have she doesn't even have a human base to like fall back
No.
on. Like she doesn't have
No.
anything. So
No.
like I just feel like the only option for when Renesmee would be growing up would be like a Renesmee villain arc. I can't see another way for this to go other than for her to rebel against her incredibly like claustrophobic family.
Right. Like as she
And I want
should.
that for her. I want
Yeah.
that for her. She deserves it. After her
Yeah.
parents did nothing to protect her from her groomer.
And then she can meet Leo Clearwater, who will not have known her as a baby, who will be the same age. I mean, it's still not great, but like who will not have known her for the past 20 years. And then they can fall in love
Yes.
and fuck Jacob.
I want better for Leah.
I want
I
better for
want
both of them, but like, yeah,
but
no. I don't
like
want
if
better
I
for
have to settle, if like Renesmee
right.
has to end up with a werewolf, I'll take that. Take that over Jacob any day.
Is that book still coming or do you think that's been like quashed? Do you think that like
I have no idea.
overwhelming?
I don't know. After the success of the book we're talking about, listener, is like Stephenie Meyer was like, oh, if I wrote a sequel, it would be like Jacob and Renesmee or whatever, which everyone was like, I'm gonna throw up. And like up until the release of Midnight Sun, like officially, I would have said like no way. But Midnight Sun did so well for her. I can't imagine that wouldn't have like triggered a like, oh, I kind of forgot like just how lucrative this franchise.
Right. I guess I just can't see like who is going to be the core audience for that.
Us, Rachel.
Well, obviously, well, yeah.
Are we not going to buy this book?
No, that's
Come
true.
on.
That's true. Yeah, but like,
don't kid yourself.
I actually don't know. Like,
nobody bought Midnight Sun. Just like saw it in the store and was like, oh, this looks interesting. Let me read this. No.
I know, but like if it's Jacob and Renesmee, I'm saying.
Rachel, people will buy it just to hate it. Like Midnight Sun was bad enough because it was like 800 pages of Edward's POV.
Well, yeah, but it's bad in a different way. It's not like I can't stomach this way. Like, I don't know.
I just say, like, if you think you're not going to buy it, you're kidding yourself. That's all I have to say.
Anyway.
You're a dirty little liar.
What was the point of throwing in the venom kills werewolves at this point? Like, is it just to like give a reason for like Renesmee not to have venom, but like the male? All right, time for Renesmee to fall asleep. Bella can see her dreams. That would be terrible.
But before that, she's like giving Bella a rundown of the day, right? She's putting her little gross, proportionally adult hand on Bella's cheek and like, telling her all her thoughts. And they're staring into each other's eyes. And she's giving her a rundown of like the last 3 days. So like presumably this is lasting a long time. You know what I mean? Like this isn't just like a few seconds of staring into each other's eyes. And I was like, this is how you know Renesmee is Bella and Edward's kid. Because like there have never been two book characters who spend longer just staring into each other's eyes than those two freaks. Like,
wow. God, she really is Bella and Edward's child. Oh God.
Yep.
Okay.
Right. So then they're like, happy birthday, Bella. You turned 19.
Birthday.
And Bella's like, no. Like, does it count?
Why wouldn't they keep celebrating birthdays? Like, it seems like an unnecessary loss of celebration. Like, why not?
Sure. But my question for you is, does it count?
No.
So Bella is like, no, I stopped aging 3 days ago.
I'm on Bella's side. You be how old you want, girl. Doesn't count.
I mean, for all we know, Renee got Bella's birthday wrong, and she actually turned 19 a month ago.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it would not put that. Yeah.
Who knows?
No, she was like, it was so inconvenient. It would have been inconvenient for me to like register her for kindergarten, like at X time. So I just like lied and said that she was like older or younger or whatever. Yeah. Like,
exactly.
Yeah, Bella could be young, actually chronologically younger than Edward. I would believe that. Like Renee was like, I got to get her into school at 4. Or on the flip side, she was like, I need her at home because like who else is gonna cook? I can't be losing that.
Who's gonna pay the taxes?
That domestic labor of my 6-year-old. Yeah.
Not
like
me.
Matilda situation.
Yeah. So they're like, oh, Bella, let's give you a birthday present. And Bella's like, oh, like where does Renesmee sleep? And they're like, oh, like in someone's arms, basically. And they say, quote, she's never been set down in her entire life. And I'm sitting here like, I mean, I know that she is a mystical half vampire baby. So like technically the like normal laws of like physics and like humanity don't necessarily apply to her. But like if she's never been set down a day in her life, like aren't her muscles atrophying?
No, that's not. What are you talking about? She's a baby. She can't walk yet.
I know, but she's like not even getting like tummy time.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, they're not putting her down once.
Right, because she is like a 2 or 3 month old at this time. Yeah.
Like,
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Like baby, like I understand she's a baby, but like they do not get held 24/7. They don't constantly hold babies.
Yeah, well, normal babies don't tear themselves out of the womb with their teeth that they have.
Okay, so. Well, to be fair, Renesmee did not succeed in doing that because they did slice Bella open before she could rip.
Yeah, but she wanted to. She would have tried. I'll tell you that much.
Oh yeah, I forgot that implies that like Ragnarok was born with teeth.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not that she just like grew teeth in the 3 days that Bella was out.
No, like, she absolutely was born with teeth. Yeah,
was born with a full set of teeth.
Or like nails, you know. But yeah. Yep.
She's so disturbing.
Yeah.
Okay. So they show Bella her birthday present, which is a house. They made them a little cottage. And then like Alice is the only one that goes, and then she like puts away. And Bella's like, oh, like, am I really that bad at accepting gifts? And like Edward is like, no, Bella, it's because we're about to fuck. And like they were trying to be cool about it. Like, what? And then immediately Bella's like, oh my God. Horny Bella has taken over.
Yeah.
Regular Bella has taken a backseat. But before they fuck, she gets a little like tour of the house.
Yeah. And it's actually described as really cute. It's like a little cottage. It's like, quote,
Yeah.
furnished in eclectic pieces, not one of them matching another, but harmonious all the same. Like, I didn't realize that matching furniture sets, that people like literally went out and bought like entire matching furniture sets at one time. I didn't realize that existed until like pretty recently. Like maybe a few years ago when I saw like a post that was like, why you shouldn't buy a matching furniture set. It was like, you can do that? Like, people do that? That's bold.
People buy like new furniture.
No, not just new furniture, but like you go out and you get like a matching bed, dresser, desk,
like a whole
like
bedroom set.
Everything at once. I feel like that it just looks so like, I don't know. Yeah, it's just, first of all, really expensive. Second of all, like just I don't know. I guess it's easy.
I definitely remember seeing it advertised.
Oh, for sure.
You know,
I guess it's easy. It's easy. I'll give you that.
Yeah, like you get something that definitely matches, like definitely all goes together.
Yeah, but you know, why would you want it to like match? I don't know. I don't get it.
Some people want that, Rachel.
You know what it is? And I saw this on a TikTok a while back. I think I didn't come up with this like way to describe it, but it's the same thing as like people who like, when you think of like sibling names that go together, I feel like there's like the people who think that like what that means is like same first letter, like Carly, Kim, like I have no idea, whatever, you know, Katie, like that is like whatever, like matchy, or like
Courtney,
Sally,
Kim, Chloe.
Yeah, Courtney, Kim, Chloe, or like Mally and Sally, or like, you know, like, and then there's like just like harmony, like Evelyn and Adelaide. Like our cats. Just like that go like in style or like feel, or like, you know, Florence and Eleanor or something, like, you know.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's their house is a Florence and Eleanor house, not a Kim Chloe house, which is
a good way
for
to
them.
describe it. Well done.
Yeah.
But they do not explore that house for long because it's time to fuck. Woohoo. And Bella can, quote, taste his pure vivid scent on my tongue.
Oh God. Is this when they have the like extremely long conversation while like connected?
Yes.
Is this scene or is it later? There's like pages and pages of
because
conversation.
They start
and then it's
to
like,
laugh.
Yeah.
They start to laugh, and it does strange things to the way we're connected.
But it's like pages and pages. Listen, Edward just, thinks about being erect and immediately is. So like, checks out.
God. And then basically Bella is like, oh my God, like I want to fuck you all the time. Like, how do people do it? And like, how do like the rest of your family do it? Because like they're all married and like they don't fuck all the time. And then Edward, like high key, I mean, I'm not surprised. High key slut shames Rosalie and Emmett by being like, they were so horrible. Like it was like 10 years where they were just like fucking all the time and like we couldn't be around them. And I was like,
well,
you are the worst.
Okay. No. Okay.
That's what they do.
These words, I can't believe these words are coming out of my mouth, but in Edward's defense, he can read minds and he can't really shut it off. So if they're fucking all the time, they're thinking about fucking all the time, that essentially means Edward is having to think about Emmett and Rosalie fucking all the time. So like, I'll give him this one. Like,
yeah, but you're telling me that like Alice and Jasper don't think about that?
No, because they already like came to the Cullens after they were together. So he never, that could actually explain a lot about why he likes Alice better.
Because she's not a slut.
She was already like settled.
Because she looks like a child. We do know that he likes children.
That's true. What?
He fell in love with a 17-year-old.
Oh, yeah, okay.
He's like, totally chill with Jacob.
He doesn't look like Renesmee, I'll tell you that much. You're the prettiest. No. We'll get to that.
Okay, we'll get to that. Yeah, okay.
Oh, I was like, one more detail about their house is that apparently the room and the bed are exactly the color as like the beach and garden or whatever at Isle Esme. And like the walls are like the color of the ocean or whatever. And it's really giving Josh from The Hating Game. I don't
Yeah.
know why. I'm like, that's the exact same like Robin's egg blue somehow.
Which
I
is
feel
like the fact that like Esme made that, because Esme designed the house. So the fact that Esme like made the decision to be like, yes, you guys are gonna fuck so hard at my little island house that you're gonna fall in love with it, and therefore will want your bedroom to match it. Like, that's a conscious decision Edward's mother made.
Listen, Esme doesn't get enough credit. Unclear how much credit she is due, but I'll tell you it's not.
Oh god, yeah. Okay, so then, you know, they finally stop fucking. Edward once again has to remind Bella that she has a child. And then Bella once again has to be like, I don't know, do I want to keep fucking Edward or do I want to see my child?
Oh
Who
my
knows?
God.
She's literally like standing there, like it's described like she's a cartoon character, just like looking
Yeah.
in the closet, and Edward
Oh
being
my
like,
God, yeah. And then Edward has to like smell through the fabric bag, through the garment bags to like figure out what to like
okay,
wear. He's like,
that's actually really cool.
pretty
I was
useful, yeah.
I actually really like that bit of world building, the fact that like vampires can like smell different fabrics and
Yeah.
like
Except something I meant to say but didn't is that like at her wedding in the first half of this book, Bella can like immediately tell what flowers are in like a big bouquet by smell. Like I remember noting
yeah,
that. She can tell there's like 5 different kinds and she gets like 4 of them. Which so
yeah,
she already should be like she already is like pretty impressive with that.
yeah.
You know what would be even cooler though is if all the clothes weren't in fucking garment bags. Like I get that it's in the
Yes.
woods, but I feel like they could have just built like a fucking weatherproof closet. Like she definitely could have just built it out of like safe material or something and like not risk the mold, you know. Not that I don't know, it's hard to keep it sterile
Silly.
as we've learned, but
Yeah.
through extensive research.
Okay, so anyway, now we get like possibly one of the top 5 best quotes in the series, which is, if I hadn't seen him undressed, I would have sworn there was nothing more beautiful than Edward in his khakis and pale beige pullover.
Oh my God.
So Edward's also, he's wearing like a monochrome outfit. He's just wearing an entirely beige outfit.
That's classic. It's a classic look. The word khakis, listen, it could be just like khaki. It doesn't have to be like hideous pockets. Listen, we could pull the same thing as the khaki colored skirt, you know?
No. I'm not saying that it has to be like that the pants have to be ugly, but like I feel like when something's described as khaki colored, like yes, we have established that khaki color does not necessarily have to
color
mean
this
tan,
time though. She didn't
but
say
she
khaki
said
color
in his
this time.
khakis.
Yeah, exactly.
So like he's wearing beige pants and a beige pullover. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, well, that's fine. I feel like that can be like a nice outfit. I don't know. It depends. But no, but she didn't say khaki colored this time is the problem for me. She said khakis.
Yeah.
They are a khaki material.
Confirm.
I have a question. Do you think any of the Cullens would have a TikTok? And follow up, do you think that the slight fear of vampires that like most humans have would like come through on the screen, or is that only an in-person thing?
I feel like that's an in-person thing.
Yeah.
Because they're supposed to look hot and you're only getting their appearance. And to answer your first question, Emmett would 100%
Absolutely
have a
Emmett.
TikTok. And it would be like, look at me smash this rock.
People would be like, you're baking it. He'd be like, prove I'm not.
It would literally just be like, look at me pick up this tree.
This truck. He'd pick up trucks and throw them because they could afford that. Oh my God. Wow.
100%. That's what they do with Bella's truck. That's his first video.
And like Bella would never have a TikTok because like she's not allowed to have a cell phone. So,
no. I don't think anybody else.
And so she would never. So that's definitely how because remember like the truck conveniently broke like 3 days after Bella agreed to it.
I know.
So they definitely just like, smashed it and then like put it on the curb and we're like, whoops, doesn't work anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think anyone else would. Maybe Carlisle would as like a medical, like giving like medical advice.
Or like Esme would. She'd be like house tours. Or like
interior design.
Yeah.
I don't think Rosalie would, because Rosalie would just be like, she would like make cameos in Emmett's videos.
Yeah.
And all the people would be like, bring out Rosalie. We want to see Rosalie.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, come on, babe.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then she would pick up a truck and throw it too. And they'd be like,
oh my God.
100%.
Absolutely.
And in the background of half of the videos would be like just Jasper, just like staring, just standing completely still and staring. And all the cops would be like, who's that guy in the back? And Emmett would be like, what guy? There's no one there.
They would throw the trucks on Jasper and then he'd like somehow survive. And then they would get permanently banned for dangerous activities. Endangering a minor. Because they're all minors. Fuck.
No. Only
No?
Bella and Edward are minors.
Jasper is the youngest fucking whatever the fuck captain in the Confederate Army, like whatever it's called.
Yeah,
He's
but
the
he
youngest
joins up.
colonel or something, not captain.
He joins up when he's like 17.
Yeah.
And then he's like been in the army for like at least a year or two before that's how he makes it to captain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like he's definitely over 18. They're all over 18 for sure. Besides Edward. That it's just Edward too. It's just Edward. Even Bella's an adult.
Well, no, Alice, right?
Well, we don't know how old Alice was. I feel like she maybe was 18. I don't know. We don't know how old Alice was.
She might have been. Yeah. It really is just Edward. Wow. So
I
he really
think
is
no,
the most
because I think
dipshit of the
Alice.
dipshits.
Yes, I think Alice and Edward had the same birth year, but Alice was changed after him.
No.
I feel like I remember reading that.
No, because Alice was in like the 20s. I mean, we can figure out. We have like her. Well, in those like movies, we have her like commitment year.
No, she was born in 1901.
I mean, James would have. Yeah.
She was born in 1901 and turned when she was 19, so 1920.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
According to Twilight Saga wiki.
And Edward was also born in 1901?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, because then he died in 1918 during the Spanish influenza.
Wow. That's wild. So they're twins.
Twin best friends.
Best friends.
Okay. Yeah, so then they like go off and like, go to see Renesmee again. And Bella is like, like she's imagining like what kind of papa Edward would have been like if she had died and he'd had to like raise Renesmee by himself. And I was like, it's very bold of you to think that Edward would not just like throw the baby in the river and then like run
Jacob eat it up, like come on,
and then like immediately run to Volturi. Like it's very bold of you to say this, Bella. We literally
no. Like he wouldn't even need to go to the Volturi at that point because Rosalie would kill him. Like that's he scores a double whammy with that one.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
true. Or maybe he just like he throws himself in front of the wolves like fast enough before like Jacob can explain the situation and they just like chomp him to bits. He's got a lot of options here. Good for him.
He really set this one up. Wait, she thinks about what he would be like if she died?
I think she's imagining Renesmee's gift. She's like, if it had just been her and Edward, like, would he ever have discovered it? And I was like, it's bold of you to think.
Well, but that's just like, if it was just Edward, no family, yeah.
That it would ever just be Edward.
And then Emmett starts like digging on them. This is just like a running gag. He's like, what were you two doing last night? Discussing the national debt? Ha ha ha. Like, instead of fucking. And like, that just brought back like the national debt was such a hot topic buzzword from like 2006 to 2008, maybe a longer time period, but that's when I remember it in school. Like that completely disappeared from my surround to the point where like my 8th grade social studies teacher, I remember would like pull it up on the fucking like smart board every day at the beginning of class, like the national debt clock, and be like, this is the national debt. Like this is like the biggest crisis of your lifetimes. Like look how it's going up. Like this is a huge problem. And like, have you heard anything about the national? Is there some clock in like New York City somewhere that we saw? There is a national debt clock in, where is this? Times Square? No. It's by Bryant Park. I don't know. It's just so wild to think about. Anyway, that joke lives on in Twilight.
Yeah, but he's like, "Was the cottage still standing? Ha ha ha." Like, and I'm like, what kind of insane sex were Emmett and Rosalie having that they
I
knocked down
know.
several houses? Like, what?
Probably wasn't good for like Rosalie. I don't know. Like almost
I'm
vampires.
it lasted for 10 years, so clearly it was.
And then Emmett and Rosalie start talking about like how they need to start, like they should just go straight up to New Hampshire to like get everything set up because like the Cullens are still planning to leave at this point for reasons unknown. And then Jacob like leaves in a huff and like no one thinks anything of it. They're just like good riddance. And then like all of a sudden Alice
Wait.
is
What do
like,
you mean? What do you mean for reasons unknown? Like Carlisle is 23. He's
so it's for that.
23
Okay.
pretending to be like in his 30s.
Oh, well, sure, but they're making it makes it seem like it's about Bella. No, it's definitely supposed to be about Bella because now they can stay because of the Charlie thing.
Sure, but like they have to leave soon anyway.
Yeah,
And
I
like
don't know.
is
Right,
Jacob
but
just under the impression that
I
they're
have
like
no
never going to leave
idea.
now?
No, and it doesn't make sense because then they're like planning to go to South America and he's like, I'm going to go with you. Like he's willing to leave. It doesn't make sense. Anyway, Jacob leaves in a huff. Everyone's like, good fucking riddance or whatever. They don't note it until Alice is like, oh my God, I can see into the future. That's so Raven. Charlie's going to be here soon. Like Jacob's, I don't know how she sees because she can't see Jacob, but I guess she sees Charlie.
No, isn't she just like, what has he done that's like erased my entire day or
Oh,
something?
yeah.
And then like
And then
he
he
rolls
strolls
up.
back in and Edward can read his mind. And Jacob's just like casually, like, Edward's like, oh my God, you fucking idiot. And Jacob's like, oh, Charlie will be here soon. I assume Alice is going to use sunglasses or something. And Bella, like,
He's such a dick.
she's like, you assume way too much, which is like a core issue of this entire setup. Like, he basically went and he's like, well, I couldn't have you
Exposed
guys
himself
leaving.
literally and werewolfly to Charlie.
Yeah. So like he like tells Charlie, he's like, I'm not going to tell, like, he doesn't tell them about the vampires, but he's like, turns into a werewolf in front of him. And it's like, as long as you like have a don't ask, don't tell policy, like you can see Bella, like if you can be cool. And Charlie is like, okay, like don't tell me anything more than I need to know. Like he requests that, which like is so bold of Charlie to be like, I don't know. Just
Maybe
like
Charlie is like, listen, if they tell me more, I think there's a good chance I'm going to have to arrest my daughter and her family. So like, I don't want to know.
oh, maybe. Well, you can't
He's
do
like,
that.
a lot of weird shit has been happening in this town, and this would explain a lot of it. So
He can't. Oh yeah, like the eating the people.
yeah,
He can't arrest his daughter. Come on.
right. Well, that's why he's like, don't tell me.
Well, he wouldn't do it any. You think
He
he would
doesn't
do
want to
it
be
even if he
plagued,
knew?
you know, with his duty.
God, he wouldn't do
Yeah.
it.
Anyway, yeah. Jacob is like, and then finally, like the one thing that like gets through to him is not like, hey, you shouldn't have done this without fucking asking what the fuck. It's like, oh, like Bella will want to eat him, and he's like, what? That Bella will be in pain. Like, what? I didn't. Like, no, Boo Boo the Fool. You literally needed to protect Renesmee. Protect in quotes because Bella wanted to eat her. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? You didn't know.
Well, but he like thought she was safe. I guess I don't know. The whole thing's stupid,
No,
but it
he's
turns out for the
stupid.
best. Like it does turn out well, but like
Yeah, but
I don't
like,
know.
even though it turned out for the well, he still needs to grovel. He never apologizes
Absolutely.
for it. He's never like,
Absolutely.
hey, that was wrong. I shouldn't have done that.
Absolutely. Also, like I just have so many problems with this. Okay, starting with they're like you could have given Charlie a heart attack. And like the fact that Charlie can be fine seeing a werewolf phase despite not knowing that's even a possibility in this universe. But fucking Charlie Clearwater dies
Not
just
Charlie
from
Clearwater,
seeing
Harry
Oh,
Clearwater.
Harry Clearwater dies just from seeing his daughter phase, like just because it's his daughter. Even though like he knows about the werewolves and he's probably seen other people phase already. It's so fucked up. Two, this is what really grinds my gears. The fact that Jacob, when it's convenient for him, can just tell Charlie, right, an outsider, not even a member of the tribe, about the werewolf shit, right? But once again, the family members of the people and just the tribe in general, you shouldn't even, as long as you live on the reservation, you should get to know. Like, if you're a member of the tribe, but especially if like your family member, your child is a fucking werewolf.
Yeah.
Like, but the fact that like the little werewolves, like they just have to sneak out and like their moms don't know. And like even Jacob's own sisters weren't going to be allowed to know, except that they got like conscripted into the imprinting bullshit. Like, or one of them did. Fuck Rebecca, I guess.
Well,
like,
Jacob gets to tell everyone because he's an alpha now, so he doesn't have to listen to what anyone says.
God. So Sam's like not I guess like it's easier to
No, but like
criticize, but like
it is
Sam,
also
it's
who
the
was
council. It's the council too, right? What?
no, but it's also what were they talking about? Like specifically with Embry, he's the one like who can't tell his mom, like
Yeah.
whose mom keeps like
Right.
grounding him or like whatever.
Right.
And Jacob at one point is like, yeah, like we like, you know, tried to get Sam to let him like tell his mom, but like Embry was like, no, like the secret's more important. So like they've just also been like brainwashed into thinking that the best course of option is to like not tell.
But then Jacob can just do it willy-nilly whenever he wants without
Yeah.
any input from the council or any input from anyone. Like it's
And
just so
listen, alpha blood runs undiluted through his veins.
undiluted. Does that mean incest? Like what the fuck does that mean? That would explain a lot of what's wrong with him.
I feel like there has to be some level of incest if the werewolf like thing has been so kept within the tribe.
Right. God, maybe there's just like little werewolves springing into like existence elsewhere, and they just don't. They just like assume it's just them. The same as the
Just
same
like
way
the
that the
Cullens
Cullens.
assume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just Renee's face the only one. God.
Okay.
Anyway, so the Charlie thing goes great. Bella puts in some contacts that like make her eyes look like a muddy brown, and the
Which,
venom
like,
dissolves them in 3 hours. That's pretty
putting
good
in
for the contact.
context just like gave me such the ick. Like the idea that like just having to put things on my eyes. Like the morning that I was listening to this, because I wrote it down, I had to put like eye drops in my eyes because my cat gave me pink eye.
You keep saying that, but like
I don't know how else I would have gotten pink eye, Rachel, if it like aside from her poopy butt being on my pillow. Anyway, I had to put eye drops in and it was horrible. It was like the worst part of my day.
You were such a
Truly
baby.
horrendous. And I just don't like things going near my eyes.
You get used
at
to
all.
it.
And so this was
Yeah,
horrible.
too.
Anyway, yeah, it goes well. Emmett makes sex jokes the entire time, which is great. And so Bella challenges him to an arm wrestling contest because that's how you solve disagreements in the Cullen family.
Indeed.
That would also be something that they would put on the TikTok. That'd be the one time Bella appears on the TikTok.
Absolutely. And she would like make sure to face away. Wait, before that though, when Charlie's arriving, like literally right before he's walking in the door, like they're like all giving her human tips. They're like, make sure you jiggle your leg, like make sure you pretend to breathe, blah, blah, blah. Like be cool, like make sure, are you calm? Are you calm? And Jasper's like the whole time obviously monitoring her mood. And then like right before Charlie gets there, like Edward like kisses her or something, like another like long hookup kiss. And then like Bella's like all riled up and horny, and because Jasper's like, Bella, like be good or whatever. So one of the emotions that Jasper can feel is horniness. Like, that is canon. I'm not even. That's not even like a stretch. Like he literally says, like Bella, you're too horny. Chill the fuck out. Like,
Oh, this poor man.
God. Wait. But if Jasper can make people not horny, that means he could make them horny also.
I feel like that has some bad implications for
Some
like
bad
consent.
implications. Exactly. Like,
Well, here's the thing.
who's it directed at? He could make it directed at anyone, which is even worse.
Who's it directed at? But like, okay, so let's talk about like Alice. We're assuming it's the only person he has sex with. But theoretically, I guess Alice could see like when he makes the decision to make her horny, like she would see that. So like the consent is like balanced out because like
that's
she would
good,
be able to know.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
But also, like, I'm sure he could, like, use it, you know, like, as long as, like, she gives her consent, he could, like, use it and, like, to, like, spice up, like, the, you know, when they are having sex to, like, heighten her, like, pleasure.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't even thinking of it in the context. Honestly, I don't know why the first thing that came to mind was, like, him overseeing some, like, Dionysian cult. Like, they, like, hire him for the night to, like.
Well, that's listen, no. Carlisle and Edward run the like anti-choice cult, and like Jasper oversees their monthly rituals.
I don't want to know. I don't know what's going on, and I simply don't want to know. Anyway, back to the arm wrestling
contest.
Yeah.
Bella wins because she's super strong and Emmett's super upset about it. And then she like has this very awkward sounding scene where she just kicks apart a rock and everybody laughs because they're just like so happy that that Bella is like kicking apart a rock. And then Ragnarok laughs and like they're like, oh my God, she's laughing. And then the sun comes out and Bella's like, oh, I'm sparkling. And like Renaissance is like upset that like she doesn't sparkle too. She just has like a, you know, she has like a dewy glow. Like Renesmee is like the clean girl aesthetic.
Yeah.
And like Bella's like, oh, like you're the prettiest. And Edward's like, I'm not sure I can agree with that.
Oh my God. I know.
Sir, was that necessary? Why did you have to body your daughter like that?
I know, like, why are you comparing her to Bella at all? Like, that for the downsides of having 17-year-old parents, I guess, like permanently 17-year-old parents. Like,
God, that's why Renesmee has the villain arc.
God. Yeah. And then Bella's like, I'm so happy. Like, the crimson glow of the sun. I was born to be a vampire. Like, everything is good in the world. And that's how you know the other shoe's about to drop. But wait, before Jacob, like, tries to shame Bella for having fun breaking the rocks, he's like, you should have more dignity than that or whatever. And also the explanation that they give Charlie for how they got Renesmee is Edward's like, she's my niece, like my biological niece. Like my older brother was adopted like me, but the courts located me when he and his wife died in a car accident. Which like, that's not how that works. Like unfortunately, like your family ties are like severed, including siblings when you're adopted.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. That's like a power the U.S. government has, you know, like or like the states, that any government. Like I don't know. And also like it would have been bold because he knows her name's Renesmee, like Renee and Esme. It would have been so bold for Bella and Edward to adopt his niece and then change her name. Like, can you imagine? People do that though. Like they'll adopt like old children and then just change their name.
I know.
But like, can you imagine like you're adopted by family, like right? Like they would have been theoretically their family doing it, and then they change your name from whatever it could have been to Renesmee.
And then you have to be nicknamed after the Loch Ness Monster just to live
I
a
think
normal
Nessie,
life.
I unironically think Nessie is a cute nickname. I don't know if that's just because it's so, I don't know if it's the same way that like, when I learned that Miley, like Miley Cyrus, was not like a quote unquote real name, like it was just like a nickname that Miley Cyrus's mom made up. That did not compute. It still doesn't really compute in my brain because like that name is such a real name to me just because like Miley Cyrus existed in my psyche from like such a, you know what I mean? And so maybe Nessie is the same way. I'm like, that is a real name. Like there's nothing wrong with, you know? But then again, that same thing doesn't exist with Renesmee, so like who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it could be like it could be a nickname for Agnes or Vanessa.
I know.
Or the Loch Ness Monster.
Okay, yeah, so then they're just all worried because like Renesmee's growing super fast. And I would just like to point out that like Renesmee, like Stephenie uses the fact that Renesmee doesn't like picture, but like doesn't quote have the patience for picture books or like rereading books like other kids have. Like it's supposed to be a sign of like her maturity and like growing up. And I'm like, first of all, this is the 10th time I've like reread this book. So like, what do you mean it's a sign of it's just a sign that she doesn't appreciate any books. She doesn't like books. Like that's a fucking sign of.
Yeah, her taste in books is just bad.
Also, to give a mouse a cookie slaps. Okay.
There's
Picture
so many
books
that slap.
are phenomenal. The rainbow fish
come on,
slaps. Berenstein Bears
10,000 cats. 10,000 cats. Remember that?
Yeah, Renesmee just has bad taste in books. That's essentially. I mean, am I surprised when her mother's favorite book is Wuthering Heights? No.
Anyway, yeah, she's like reading fucking like Ernest Hemingway and like some poems and shit. Like, all right, girl, get over yourself.
Yeah.
You're 7 days old.
Arrow passive aggressively sends Bella a golf ball sized diamond necklace, which is insane because he's basically like, just letting you know, you still got to prove you're a vampire. Hee hee hee.
Well, we find out that Sue and Charlie are officially an item, which we like knew already, but like whatever. Because God forbid Charlie cook for himself. And Quill and Embry join Jacob's pack, which like is bold because they were like Embry couldn't possibly leave because Claire like has to stay on the reservation.
Quill.
And they're like freaking out about Renesmee growing so quickly. Like they measure her every morning. And they're thinking about going to like South America because like the Takunas have the Takuna tribe that Stephenie Meyer just blatantly. Is that real? I wonder if she like made them up or like if she just pulled another Quileute thing.
I just feel like
they have like legends, absolutely legends.
If the Takuna tribe like also Renesmee has a move to higher ground equivalent, let us know so I can link that.
Yeah. And they're like, if other children like Renesmee had ever existed, maybe some legends about their lifespan still lingered. Like, all right.
Ma'am. What do you
And
mean if?
Renesmee, like, is apparently she's clear on the whole like good versus bad, like no hunting, ET humans. She just thought that donated blood made a nice compromise. And this is treated as like, oh, this is so silly Renesmee. Like she has to learn how to eat animals. But like Renesmee's right. Donated blood does make a nice compromise. And like they could absolutely work out a way to do that. And just like the fact that the Cullens don't even consider this as a path, like even for themselves, they could continue eating animals. But if they could convince the other vampires to eat donated blood instead of like live people killing them, right? Even if, I mean, it wouldn't be great. Like there would be huge consent issues. But even if you could figure out a way to steal people's blood, but like in a way that leaves them
Yeah.
alive, that would save so many lives. And I feel
Yeah.
like it's the same thing as saying like, still don't have sex, abstinence only, even when there's birth control and ways to prevent STDs. Like it's like you're
Yeah.
getting rid of the bad things, but it's just like the like rule somehow remains even when the reasoning for it is
Yeah, it's
gone.
just about control at that point.
Right, exactly. Like they're just like so, and they could honestly like probably charm people into giving them the blood because they're so good looking, right? They'd be like, I'll date you if you give me your blood, like whatever. But anyway.
Wait, but so, and like about them going to the Amazon, like Emmett and Jasper are excited to like go to the Amazon because they're excited to like hunt jaguars.
Oh,
And I'm like, is your
yeah.
rate of terror in the Pacific Northwest not enough? Like,
Never
you have
enough.
to go to the Amazon
Oh
and hunt jaguars.
Oh my god.
They're terrorists.
God. Okay, so then they're hunting, right? And
Bella, Jacob, and Renesmee.
yeah, and they're seen from a distance
By
by
Irina the Tout.
who's one of the Denali clan who skipped the wedding
Yeah.
and is mad at them for killing Laurent, who is going to
Yeah,
eat
she's
Bella.
the reason the Denali clan didn't help them in Eclipse. So she comes to apologize, which they knew was coming. Like Alice had seen that like she was going to come to apologize at some point. But then because she sees Renesmee from it, first she sees Jacob and she's like, oh my God, they're like fucking with the wolves still. Like that's really hurtful.
Well, that's what Bella
but
thinks
then
she's
she
upset
sees,
about. Yeah.
I know. I think that's what maybe makes her pause. And then she sees Renesmee and she thinks that, listener, if you remember, we brought up the convenient plot device of the immortal child in last episode, which was only introduced this book, and
which makes complete sense. I mean, the immortal, I'll give her that. Like it makes sense that would be like both exist and be an issue.
Yeah, so their mom got killed for making an immortal child and they got spared because they didn't know anything about it. So they're like super like into like following the rules, particularly in that respect. So she thinks that Renesmee is an immortal child, and obviously instead of, in any way clarifying or like confirming, she runs to snitch to the Volturi immediately.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I don't know. First of all, I guess it could make you more strict, but couldn't it also make you like more care, like, you know what happens, like you don't want that to happen to other people. A, B, like, yeah, she doesn't even go like consult with her sisters or whatever, which I guess I get because she doesn't want to like, because at that point then they can't decide not to snitch because then they'll also have it on their minds.
Right, she doesn't want to
I mean?
implicate them.
Right. So like I guess it makes sense, but like
yeah.
I don't know, it's wild.
But Irina is played by I forget this actress's name. I think it may be Maggie something. But this actress plays Liam Neeson's daughter in Taken, and like I just can't stop imagining Liam Neeson as a vampire. Like imagine like Taken, but he's a vampire.
He could be not Aro, but like one of the Caius or Marcus.
Like just like he would like single-handedly take out the Volturi. Like if he decided to, like he just fuck them up immediately. You know what? He is the one that runs Vampire Atlantis.
Right. Yep. Wow. Yeah. Why doesn't that exist? Oh my God. Yeah. Okay. Right. So like then Irina doesn't immediately decide what to do. And Alice is like, she's like pacing in the wilderness, like can't decide what to do. And then all of a sudden they're all just like hanging out and Alice drops a vase, which is like so crazy because vampires don't drop things. And looking into her eyes was like looking out of a grave from the inside because Irina has decided to snitch.
There's so much like like dramatic eye
So
imagery, like the
dramatic.
Burning Man, the like
The
looking out of
Burning
a grave,
Man.
like a blind man
Wow.
seeing the sun,
Stephanie's
Jacob
really
about
coming into it.
Renesmee. She's really into the eyes, which is further like emphasized by the fact that like after the scene, Bella and Edward stare into each other's eyes all night long, literally all night long. They do not break eye contact once, and the reason that they don't do that is because Alice is like, the Volturi are coming to fuck us up.
Mhm.
Yikes. And they're all
Woo,
like,
we're
oh
all gonna
no.
die.
Yeah, woohoo, we're all gonna
Yeah.
1, 2, and then Alice dips
She
with
fucks
Jasper, which
off.
they don't realize at
Yeah.
first.
She absconds without letting Edward like hear her thoughts.
Yeah, and because she's like, what are we fighting for? Don't ask me, I don't give a
And
damn.
she gets the werewolves to like let her over the river. And then like Sam's really upset that he like, because she gives Sam a note to like give to the rest of them. And Sam's like, can't believe she would abandon you like that. And they're all like, whatever, like she can do what she wants.
Honestly, like I'm obsessed with the fact that we think for basically a third of this book that Alice like dipped on them. Like I love it. Like, good for her.
Yeah.
Good for her for
Yeah.
leaving. She came and then she went. Like, she's got no
Right.
ties to this family, you
That's
know?
true. Bella thinks about that. She's like, they were the only ones who like weren't created. Which like, it seems weird to put so much stock into that, but like whatever. Alice leaves like a secret note just for Bella. She like leaves it in one of her books. She leaves like a name, J Jenks. It's like for Bella, because Bella's the only one whose thoughts Edward can't read, and therefore like because Aro will eventually read all of Edward's thoughts, so therefore like it'll stay secret from Aro. Bella like Googles it and she's like, oh, I'm so confused. Like, what is this? Like, so sketchy, whatever.
So Bella's really worried, and like Renesmee is like trying to comfort her with her weird like adult proportioned hand thing. And Bella's like, wow, I never thought like the mother-daughter relationship would be reversed between me and Renesmee like it was between me and Renee. And I was like, the cycle of abuse continues into immortality. Like,
yeah,
these poor women are never gonna get a break.
right. And she doesn't like, right, and she doesn't even think of it as a bad thing, I guess, at this point, even though she's like so fine with never seeing Renee again. She's like, I haven't seen Renee since the wedding. Like, it's a good thing. Like, we should keep this gradual distancing going because like, we're not gonna tell her like we told Charlie.
Jeez. Yes, which no more than Renee deserves. But then Edward comes in and like, and he like, you know, kisses her passionately, and they have a like, oh no, the world is ending fuck. And I normally love a oh no, the world is ending fuck. Like, this could be the last time that we fuck. But it's just not sexy at all with Edward and Bella.
I know.
Like, the one time this trope doesn't work for me.
I know.
Not with Eddie Boy, no way. Yeah. So now their next plan
is to gather the troops. So they're basically gonna like reach out to everyone they know in the vampire world and be like, hey, can you come here and like witness that
be
Renesmee,
implicated?
Yeah, I know that Renesmee is not an immortal child, that she like actually is growing and is, you know, bigger than she was last week. And so like the people roll in, it's like all their friends, they all have like different powers. The first people to roll up are the Denali Coven and Eliezer. Eliezer is like, who is it? Like Tanya's, or I don't know. He's Carmen. Carmen and Eliezer are with them now. And Eliezer used to work for the Volturi. And his gift is like figuring out what other people's gifts are, like being able to know that. Yeah. And he's like, oh, well, Bella is like a great shield. And they're like, what? And he's like, yeah, she's a fucking shield. Like, you didn't notice that she's like shielding her thoughts from everyone? And then Kate.
Yeah, the fact that they're like, what? Like, they're so shaken by it. Like, they're like, ma'am, you've known this since she was. Like, you don't think Arrow thought that once in New Moon when he like found out about Bella? Like, you don't think he had a thought that was like, oh, she's a shield, and that Edward didn't hear it? What?
Right. Well, maybe not, because Ara doesn't have the gift, I guess. I don't know. Unclear.
No, but he knows what Bella can do.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. And then Kate is like, Kate who can shock people. She's like, oh, can you project?
That's fucking sick.
Bella's like, what? And Kate's like, yeah, like I used to just be able to shock people with my fingertips, but then I like practice. Now I can do my whole body or whatever, like my forearms. Like, maybe you can like shield other people. And Bella's like, oh my God, like, I need to do that. Yeah.
Not my toxic trait be thinking that I could play Kate in the movie.
Why not?
Before it came out. No, I mean like before the movie came out, when I was like 15.
Listen, of course. Listen, the way that it works is if the hair color matches, it's fair game, right? That's the only criteria
That's
I
what I say,
personally use for like which is really bold because like that's the one thing that really doesn't matter. Like they have no problem just changing. Like Rosalie isn't even fucking blonde. Like Nikki Reed isn't blonde. But like that's how it works, right? Okay. Yeah.
The Egyptians show up and Benjamin shows up, and Benjamin is played by Rami Malek, so just note that he's like probably the hottest one in this whole movie, and he is basically the Avatar, and like I feel like this isn't appreciated enough. Like he can
really
control all the
not.
elements. He's the fucking Avatar.
Yeah, but like that, it doesn't seem like it's that useful in the vampire world because like when they're preparing for the battle, I'll say this now, I guess, like he's like, yeah, he strategically places boulders like in different places, and like it wouldn't be enough to hurt a vampire, but it might distract them. So like, how useful is his power? Like how, I guess if he could open up like a crater into the earth and like bring forth lava or something, maybe, but like it's really unclear. Like
Yeah.
it's really cool, but like I don't know, like against vampires,
I just feel like that's not explored enough, and it really should have been.
yeah.
And Jacob is like, he grumbled to Renesmee that like someone is going to have to provide an index of if anyone wants to keep all the bloodsuckers' name straight. And I was like, why is he telling this to a child? Why is he using a slur? Like bloodsuckers is a slur in Jacob's mind about that also applies to her family, and that also applies to half of her.
Right.
Like jail for 1,000 years for Jacob. Okay, so now that the Amazons arrive, it's so fucking racist. It's so fucking racist. Like you think like the Quilly wolves, like you think that racism is explicit, like the way that Stephenie Meyer describes like these three vampires, it's like they're described as, quote, Bella says, like they're described as like significantly less human. Like all of their proportions are long. Like it seems like they're like very alien. They are, quote, wild. Bella has, quote, never met any vampires less civilized. Civilized is the word that Stephenie chooses to use here. And also the fact that, so like, and Bella's also made nervous by the fact that like the person in charge of that group is a woman, Zephrina, and like she has like a partner, like a male partner, but like she's clearly like,
wait, no, they're all women, aren't they? They're all women. It's three women. It's Zephrina, Senna, and Kachiri isn't with them because Alice said she needed Kachiri to help them.
Oh, I thought Senna was a man.
No, I'm pretty sure she just made them like, well, maybe I'm just assuming that because like the Amazons in like Greek mythology are all women.
Yeah. I thought it was a man because of the parallel because Bella's nervous about the fact that he is like, that Senna is like submissive to Zeffrini, and I was like, it's like a parallel to the way where like the Egyptian vampires, like the two ones that aren't Benjamin, like the woman is very submissive to the man, and I was like, of course Bella would find it a threat when like the man was submissive to the woman,
well,
and like
except
not
for
the other way around.
Siobhan and whatever. No, they're all women. It's three women. Are the Amazon coven
girlfriends?
Unclear.
Because the way that this is written was very like mate.
She said they move as like the two parts of a whole or whatever, like an organism with different limbs. I guess so. Yeah.
Did Stephenie Meyer sneak in lesbians without anyone noticing?
Unclear. Well, Kachiri's not there. They call
polyamory?
her their sister, but like, who's to say? What was the point of like separating Kachiri? Unclear.
Oh, because
she helps them find. Okay, so she come back with them. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so now the whole gang is together. Edward is a little bitch because he won't teach Bella how to fight. Like Bella's like, hey, we're literally about to be attacked. Like, can you teach me some of the basics? And he's like, no, I just can't picture you like that. And I just, sir.
I know. And then he's like, he's like, yeah, well, she's like, yeah, well, he's like, you won't have to fight. And she's like, yeah, well, like, what if I fucking do and I can't? And he's like, you got me there. And then he can't. He tries, but like, yeah, he can't.
No, like he doesn't really. Yeah, he's like half-hearted about it, and like he's canonically the best fighter besides Jasper.
Did you take your shirt off?
No, I just lowered my straps.
Oh, okay. Wait, is he? He's the best fighter after Jasper?
Yes, because he can read people's minds and because he's super
Oh,
fast.
right. What about Alice though? Like, come on. And then the fucking Romanians roll up, and they're on their vigilante shit again, as it were. The Romanians were like the original. I mean, makes sense, Romanian man, right? They were the
Yeah.
original like OG ruling class before the Volturi, and then the Volturi like burned their castles and took out everyone else except for Stefan and what's the other one?
Dimitri, I
And
feel like. No, not
Dimitri.
Dimitri, because that's a
Vladimir.
Volturi.
Vladimir, maybe.
Vladimir.
Classic. Which she
Yeah.
couldn't cut.
No.
What a couldn't come up with anything better. Like, whatever. They've been hiding under a rock for like 800 years, probably. And they're ready to like
Yeah.
take down the Volturi. Like they're like, we're hoping it turns into a fight. Like give me some of that Volturi ass. Like,
Yeah. There's also the one emo British vampire, like Alistair, who just hangs out in the
yeah,
attic.
he's like
And
the
like he's like
synthrope.
completely irrelevant because he leaves like
Right.
before the actual fight. He
He's
just hangs out in the
Edward.
attic.
He's Edward in Brazil, is what he is. With the rats and the spiders and the rats ignored me.
Okay. Yeah, so then they're practicing Bella's shield because she's like trying to protect Edward, and like Kate like shocks Edward, and like Bella can't get the shield, so like Edward just keeps getting shocked over and over
Yeah.
again, which like is no more than he deserves. Like I really love that little detail. And then Bella is like, time to go explore whatever the fuck J Jenks means. So she has the address. Like she has the address for him. Like it's an address in his name that she found in the book. And she goes to Seattle, and she's wearing a trench coat. And frankly, the fact that like this is not explored enough. Like noir Bella, like
I know.
like in a trench coat, like doing crime. Like she is like described as looking like a femme fatale now that she's like a vampire. Like
right, yeah.
not, I want a spin-off that's just Bella like in a trench coat doing morally ambiguous things.
Except like the conversation that they have, like she rolls up to like the word Stephenie uses is the ghetto.
Oh, yeah, she says, "I wasn't sure why Alice had given me the ghetto address. Stephenie."
Right.
You fucking kidding me?
But she rolls up and the guy's like, "Oh, are you here for drugs or whatever?" And she's like, "No, we're more just say no and all that."
All right, Nancy
So, like,
Reagan.
I know. Like so like it's the effect is ruined a little bit, but like yeah, whatever. So finally he like calls up Jay, and Jay's like, "Oh my god, that's Jasper Cullen, who I'm terrified of. That's his sister-in-law. Like send her over right away." And she finally gets talked to him. He's a lawyer, and he apparently does like fake documents. Like that's what he does for the Cullens. Unclear why they haven't brought that in house by now. Like that seems like something they could definitely like self-serve by this point. But like whatever. Jasper prefers to like terrorize random morally ambiguous men. It's like fair enough. You gotta get his kick somewhere. Now that he's not allowed to eat people anymore, boohoo.
Yeah, with like just envelopes and envelopes of cash that she just
Right.
has handy. Like the Cullens just keep cash in their house all the time.
Well, what it is, she figures it out. It's fake IDs for Renesmee and Jacob.
Yeah.
And like why she would assume that instead of fake IDs for all of them? Unclear.
Because she's like, because the Volturi have a guy named Dimitri who's a really good tracker, and he can like smell people. And so she's basically like, Jacob and Renesmee are the only ones that like he hasn't met, and that he won't be like expecting. Like he won't be like looking out for their smell, or anything like that, because he won't know.
But I thought the way that Dimitri tracked people was like getting the tenor of your mind. So Bella should be safe
but like he's
from
never
him
met
too.
them.
But he wouldn't have Bella's either. But Bella's like determined to die when Edward dies. Like she says that later. She's like, "There's no way. Even for my child, I simply will not be living."
No,
that's a no for me.
Yes.
That's you can. That's yeah.
Now it's Christmas.
It's Christmas. Yeah, yay Christmas. She gives Renesmee this like melodramatic locket that's like more than my own life. And Edward is like, "What's that?"
And Edward, like, it's a present from both of them. And Edward is like, "Oh yeah, I forgot to get Ragnarok a present."
Well, yeah. Well, he says that.
And I'm like, you would have never done that for Bella.
No, she gave him warning. Like when she went to get the presents, right? Because she like did the whole like the roundabout thing where she like dropped off Renesmee and Jacob to hang out with Charlie.
And guess what Jacob gives Renaissance?
Oh my god!
He gives her Mr. I don't want to fuck this child. gives her the Quileute version of a promise ring. Like,
That's how it's phrased, right?
what is a promise ring if not we're gonna get married and fuck one day?
Like, what are you promising?
That's what a
sir?
promise ring is
What
for.
are you
We
promising?
can't legally marry now, but I'm promising to marry you later.
Oh my fucking God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stephenie.
Disgusting. Disgusting.
It's like, even if you wanted to be like a Stephenie apologist with this, like every time she has a chance, she spits on it. Every time. Every time.
Oh, you thought that I was going to backtrack? No. Think
I
again.
am burrowing down so deep, you are not going to see the drill.
Yeah, just we're going to China, fuckers. Like, I'm going all the way with this. Oh, Stephenie. Oh God. Okay.
Bella packs a bag for Renesmee and Jacob to make their getaway. And she like, same as where she got the cash for JJ. It's like the Cullens just like keep stacks of cash like lying around. And she's like, I took like twice the average income for like the median American family. Like no one will probably even notice that this is gone. And like that sounds like a lot, but when you think about the fact the average American family only makes $50,000 a year, she's only giving them $100,000 to like live on, possibly perpetually, right? Like what? Not only like how would they get a job if they're on the run, but like what skills does Jacob have? I mean, he's a mechanic, but like,
yeah, I guess
are they really gonna settle? But are they really gonna like be able to settle down?
No,
and
they
like
can't.
Like, yeah. So like that's not a lot of money compared to the amount the Cullens have.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. She's also like, oh, like I'm gonna send them to Brazil. And like she writes like Rio de Janeiro like on a paper so that Alice will see it. So like they could potentially meet up like if the worst happens. And she's like, oh, like it's okay. Like Jacob took Spanish in high school, which like first of all, that's not what they speak.
No.
But
she says it.
But no. My main point about that, she's like, oh, like Hope Jacob took Spanish in high school. And I'm like, when exactly would he have done that? He dropped out at the age of 15, Bella.
I know.
When would he have taken Spanish?
I know.
Are you fucking kidding me?
No, she says like there's not enough time for them to learn Portuguese, but like at the very least, I hope Jacob picks Spanish over like German, which is true. Like Spanish would be a lot more useful than like German or French for Portuguese. But also, also later on, Alice is like, what the fuck is in Rio, Bella? Like, why are you sending me these cryptic messages? Bella could have written on the paper, hey, Alice, meet Jacob and Renesmee in Rio. She could have even picked a fucking address, right? Like there was no reason it had to just be one word. She really said, and then Alice was like, I'm hunting for like this other shit, like, but you want me to meet them in Rio? Like, what do you want me to do in Rio? What am I doing there? Like, she was like simultaneously. So Bella could have ruined the whole operation with this. Yeah. Like,
maybe it's so that she doesn't want to give them a specific thing in the off chance that Aro gets access to Alice and then reads her mind and like then has like a lot more information.
I guess, but like but okay, not the specific, but she could have at least written like meet Jacob and Renesmee in Rio because that's the message she wants communicated. So that message is in Alice's mind. It's like
the first of all, Garrett the Revolutionary War vampire shows up and he is basically just like every stereotype. Like he's like a Mel Gibson movie. Like he's like the fucking patriot. Like he's that movie.
I'll follow you anywhere, woman.
Yeah, and of course he gets together with Kate, which like I can't pretend like I didn't ship that incredibly hard. The moment he rolled up and was like, "Oh look, Kate's hot," and she like can cause me pain. Like the moment I was like, oh, they're getting we already knew freaky he was a shit.
Yeah.
And I want to say specifically that I thought that the first time I read this book, I was like, they're fucked up and I love it. You know, and like this isn't a thought that I didn't have until adulthood. I knew this from the first time I met Garrett and Kate. I was like, perfect. I was like, wonderful. Chef's kiss.
So now it's time for camping with Jacob, which is its own special form of hell. For some reason, I still am really unclear on why they need to camp, like ever, like, but they do.
No,
in the like okay.
When they can run.
Like I don't get it. It's to meet the Volturi,
but the Volturi come out on the other side of this meadow, which isn't it? It's like the baseball meadow, right? They come out and they're like, they have this incredible like choreographed like
Oh my
routine of
God,
like
like a
where they're basically like
fan.
in a line and then they like fan out as they like walk for like it's incredible,
Yeah.
and they're
Dun,
organized, they're
dun,
color
dun,
coded, so like the
dun,
people in the
dun,
center have
dun,
dark black robes,
dun,
and then it
dun,
gets
dun,
like
dun,
slowly
dun,
grayer
dun.
and grayer like as you go out, like it's incredible. It's
Wait, what is
just
that song? Dun,
Pirates of the
dun, dun.
Caribbean when they're
Yes. Dun,
yeah
dun,
when the
dun,
zombie pirates are
dun,
walking under
dun.
the
That should have
water.
been the Volturi, yeah, dun, dun, theme song. Yeah, it's
Incredible.
incredible. Yeah, I love it. Oh my God.
And as they're coming, Garrett mutters under his breath, "The redcoats are coming. The redcoats are coming." But he specifically
Iconic.
mutters it. He specifically mutters it, quote, mysteriously. And I was like, "What's the mystery? What do you mean? What other meaning could that possibly have?"
It could be the Handmaid's Tale. It could be the what?
What? Mysteriously? What's mysterious?
Are you sure? Oh my gosh.
I did. I wrote.
Okay,
I specifically wrote it down.
I buy
It
it.
was
I
so
buy it.
dumb.
Oh my God. And then so the werewolves are there fighting with them too, right? Because Sam was like, we have to like help protect because like this is for Jacob's like fucking object of his imprint.
Well,
Like, we can't
also
let her
just
die.
like they're gonna they could come for us next. Like if they take out the Cullens, they could come
But
for us next.
Bella's like, oh my God, there's so many new wolves, and like judging by the size of their paws, they're like literal babies. And she's like, oh, like I guess we should have thought that this size of congregation of vampires would trigger more wolves. And I'm like, yeah, you should have thought. What? Like you've known about this. Like you were the one who was like silly Cullens never realizing this. Like, of course this would
Like
cause
you
this is how the wolves
condemned like essentially 11-year-olds to having to drop out
or
of
younger.
elementary school. They're in elementary school, Rachel.
Fuck. Oh my God.
What the fuck?
Not only that, but to like become 25 physically overnight.
Oh my God. You know who it is? Wait. But so
Oh
it's like there was this
no,
kid that we
baby.
knew who went through puberty very early and like he grew a mustache and
But he kept it.
and listen,
Yeah.
he was a nice kid, whatever. Yeah, he grew a mustache at the age of like 12. Like, you know what I
You
mean?
mean
And
younger,
then he
like 11, yeah.
like 11
But
or 12. Like he was young.
He played Little League.
Yeah, he played Little League and his team went to like the Little League World Series.
They're really
And
good, yeah.
the newspaper headline for
Bullied him.
that was literally the half the newspaper article about these kids doing this very impressive thing on a national scale was just roasting him for having a mustache. And listen, to be fair, was the mustache really weird and like not a good mustache? Yes. But like this is a child. That's what's happening to these wolves.
I think like other people in the Little League like, community were also like grumbling that like he was too old to be doing it or something. Like, you know how it's the same as like doping.
Yeah, but they're
in the
also
Olympics.
just like making fun of how he
yeah,
looked.
yeah, I know.
Like it was just like, LOL, his mustache is so stupid.
I know.
It was like,
oh
guys, he's a child.
I know. Oh, like what percent?
Anyway.
What percent of the tribe of the elementary school do you think this was? Like, was it at least a critical mass to where like you wouldn't get made fun of?
Every
It's
child
like everyone
in the elementary school,
except for like the one person who like moved in, and they're like, "What the fuck is going on?"
The one kid who was like
What's
adopted
going
from like a neighboring
on?
tribe and was
Oh my
like,
God.
is literally just like sitting in his 5th grade class picture, and like all of these people are just towering above.
No, but can you imagine like being? Well, I guess like I guess I take it back. Actually, if you can picture this trauma, picture the trauma for me, who did basically reach my adult height at like 11 or 12. This fucking fruit fly. No, Allison, I complimented someone's sweater at work the other day, and he was like, "Oh wow, like I've had this sweater since I was like in like 7th grade, like in middle school. Like thanks." And my friend was sitting there and she was like, "Wait, you had that in middle school and it still fits you? Like how? Like were you the same height or whatever?" And we were like, "Yeah, we like both were." And she's like, "But you were like you were children. Like how were you that tall?" I'm like, yeah, it was traumatic. It was traumatic to be 5'9.5" on the first day of 7th grade and 5'11" by the end of 8th grade. Like, yeah, thank you. I'm glad you recognize that.
Yeah, it was fucked up. Oh
God.
no.
And I was young for my grade. Like I
But
could have
that's
very
also,
easily been 6th grade. Like
I know, but also like I feel like reaching your adult height in like
for
6th, 7th, 8th
girls.
grade for
It's
girls
not that
is
crazy.
not
Yeah.
like I reached my
Yeah.
adult height in
Right.
6th grade. And I mean, like, I didn't have the same trauma as you
Yeah.
because like I'm only slightly taller than average, but
But
like,
also the thing you're forgetting for the werewolves, it's not just height, it's everything. Like you still look like a child, even if you're a tall child.
well,
They're like
he's
full men.
no. Okay. So, well, here's my question then. They're described as having like big paws. So, like, they visibly look younger.
Yeah,
They
that's
visibly look like
true.
puppies. So, how does that
Yeah.
translate into their physical
Well, I
appearance?
guess they don't like shoot up overnight. It's probably like a few weeks at least. Maybe they like just turned. Like I don't know, like a few
Well,
weeks or
even just a
months.
few, it's even like over a year. Cause like Jacob, like when Jacob pops up at the wedding,
That's
Bella's like,
true. He's
oh,
still
he's gotten bigger.
going. That's a great point. But still, like, God.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they would probably think. I don't know. I don't know.
Those poor
I
children.
just that yeah.
Ugh, those poor children.
Literal baby. We don't know how young it goes.
Jeez. Okay. Yeah, so basically they just like talk at each other and it's like super
Yeah.
tense and Bella's in a rage and like figures out how to like protect
Shield. Oh,
everyone.
because what we didn't mention, so we know about Jane, who can cause pain. Jane's twin, Alec, he can do like bad group effects where he like
Yeah.
numbs you and you don't have any senses. And so normally before they're gonna like kill people, they like or attack, they like incapacitate. And then if they're feeling generous, they'll like keep you incapacitated while they burn you up. And he tries that, and then she realizes that she can like, as a mushroom cloud of liquid steel, shoot out her shield and protect everyone.
Which is pretty cool. Good for Bella for being able to learn how to
Yeah.
do that super quickly.
Yeah.
I also am obsessed with the fact that so like Aro and Caius are like leading,
Good
the
cop,
whole
bad cop.
shindig. Like
Yeah.
they're good cop, bad copping it, and Marcus is just like once again just looking so bored.
Yeah, because
And I
his
just
wife is
love that
dead.
he's literally flown like across the world and like just does not give a single fuck to be there. And in the
No.
movie, so we get to the greatest movie twist in cinematic history. And like Marcus gets killed and he's just like, finally. Like he literally
Oh,
he gets his
God.
head ripped off and he's like, thank God.
Well, he doesn't actually, but like, yeah, in the movie when it
No, but
like
he lets out a relieved sigh. He's like, and just like holds out his arms.
oh, God. Yeah.
I love him so much. I want him and you know what? When Renaissance goes through her villain era, I want like her and like Marcus to just like team up like the grumpy old
Mm.
man and child trope. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm,
grumpy old
mhm.
man adopts small child.
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
like that. I would
That would
like
be
a
good.
spin-off with
That
those
would
two.
be good. I agree. Yeah. Incredible.
Okay. So now we get to the greatest movie twist. The
Yep.
greatest twist in movie history. Okay, so Alice arrives. And she shows in the movie, she shows Arrow, like Arrow reads her mind. Wait, do the people come in the movie? Do the people come with her like first and then she like shows him, or is that like afterward?
I'm not sure. I don't
I
remember.
feel like it's delayed. I feel like they don't come at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay, so she shows Arrow reads her mind and essentially sees all her predictions of the future. And in the movie, like you don't know that we've entered a vision, so it just
Mhm.
shows like Arrow reading her mind, and then like Alice is like, "Oh my god, like nothing's gonna change your mind," and then it's just like Carlisle gets killed, Jasper gets killed, Alice
They all
gets taken
fight.
hostage.
Yeah.
Like we have this fucking dramatic scene in which Carlisle's head gets like held up and
Yeah.
all it's like and you're like, "Oh my god." And then like it's full
And
scale
Aro dies. Yeah,
like
pandemonium.
Aro
The
yeah,
earth
the
is
vision
opening up.
ends with Aro getting like died. Yeah, Benjamin opens up the earth. Jane fucking
Yeah.
died. Leah kills no, I'm sorry. Who kills Jane? Someone kills Jane, and then like Leah self-sacrifices. So like even in the movie, Leah gets short end of the stick.
Shafted. Yeah.
God.
Oh.
Yeah, everybody dies and the vision like ends with like Aro dying, and then it like snaps back to like
Mhm.
the real world,
You
and
realize it
Aro's
was
like,
the
"Oh my god."
prediction. I don't
And
wanna
it was just
die.
like I was like, "This is brilliant." Because this ending is I feel like objectively kind of a letdown in terms of them like building up to this whole like like battle, and then like they
Mhm.
just talk it out basically.
Mhm.
So like including, and that would have been even more boring in the movie. Like it, like on the
Mhm.
book, like you can get away with it
Oh, yeah,
because
and I
it's just because it's
usually
not
hate
visual.
yeah, and I usually, like, would do anything to it. Like, I hate battle scenes usually, like, they're boring, but, like, this was, like,
Yeah.
very well
But like
done, very
the
necessary, yeah.
experience of seeing it in
Yeah.
theaters, and like the whole theater is like when like Carlisle's head gets popped off and like he's holding up his fucking head, like it's everyone was like, no. Oh my god, like
They
shit
really
just hit the fan.
said? Wow.
Oh man, incredible.
Insanity.
Incredible. And I'm just gonna assume that that's also what happens in the book. We just like don't get it because it's from Bella's POV.
Yeah. In the book, Alice, like, rocks up and is like yeah, that's true. Yeah, and they're
Wait,
like, "Oh
but
my god."
before Alice
Yeah.
arrives in the book, they're all saying goodbye to each other because they're like, oh, they're totally like
Yeah.
not gonna side with us.
Yeah.
Because at this point, they're like, okay, she's not an immortal child, but like she's still fucking weird. Like we
Right.
think that we should
We
kill
can't
her
risk
anyway.
it. Yeah.
And Jake and Edward says goodbye. He says goodbye to Jacob.
Oh
And he
my
says,
god,
quote,
stop.
goodbye, Jacob, my brother, my son.
My son.
What in
Can't.
the
Barf.
incest?
Barf.
What in the fucked up? What in the Targaryen family
Barf.
tree is this?
Oh
What
my
the fuck?
god. I didn't even think of it like that. Oh my god, no. Why? I did
What
not
in the
know.
Habsburg chin? Like, what is going on here?
Oh.
Oh my god.
I don't
Horrible.
know,
Okay,
and
so
I
then
simply
Alice
don't wanna find out.
arrives.
Also, another tidbit they drop, like, just casually in here is that the werewolves, like, aren't werewolves because,
Oh
like,
yeah. Which
yeah,
we
Steph
knew. Like,
we what did we?
well, like
In
we
this
knew that they
universe,
weren't
we
like
didn't know.
traditional
Well, but,
werewolves.
like, we now know that, like, children of the moon exist, which are traditional werewolves, which, like, the vampires chase to extinction, and the werewolves here are just, like, shapeshifters that happen to take the shape of a wolf, like, whatever, blah, blah, blah. They could have taken
Which
any
honestly,
shape.
like I appreciate Stephenie backtracking on that. Cause like,
Yeah.
you know, I was like, this is a reach. They're
Yeah,
just
it actually is,
shapeshifters.
but yeah. They just call them werewolves, but, like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah. But I mean they are. They're wolves that they're men that turn into wolves. Like
Right.
in the loosest definition of the term, they are
Right, and Jacob
werewolves.
does
But
say,
like,
like, when he's first explaining in Twilight, like, the first book, he's like, you would call them werewolves." So, like, it's just, like, a
yeah.
loose translation, yeah. But anyway,
Yeah.
Alice rocks up, and who's with her?
Now well.
One of these impossible, like, God,
Totally definitely don't
who
exist.
could have seen this coming? The
Guys,
legends
and guess where he
were
lived?
right.
Guess where he lived? Fucking Brazil. So Noelle is basically like, yeah, I am immortal. I grew up in 7 years. I have a bunch of sisters. So once again, I'm not even the only other one.
Right. My dad's, like, a fucked up asshole who, like, goes around doing this shit. Like, he's
Yeah, and
yeah,
like killing women.
right.
Also, my sisters aren't venomous, so like canonically only the boys are venomous. At least out
Mhm.
of this like small sample size. Like I guess it could be that like it's
Like,
just random
random.
and like he
Yeah.
happened to be the venomous one. And he knows that
Right.
because he turned his like aunt who was like there when his mom gave birth. And so she's like a vampire
Oh my
and
god,
they
are
like hang out
other
together.
wait, it could be oh my god, I could just see it being, like, the girls aren't venomous so that they can be, like, perfect for the werewolves. Like, are other werewolves gonna imprint on his sisters?
No. All the witnesses that the Volturi brought are like, wait, this is like kind of fucked up. Like the fact that like there's absolutely no risk here. Like everything's chill and
Right.
they're still like, we should kill them. So they start to
Right.
dip and the Volturi are like, well, this is going to be bad for our reputation. Like if it gets out that we killed them, even though
Mm.
like there was nothing
Big reputation, yeah.
bad here. So they putz off and are very upset about not getting to kill everyone today, unfortunately. Yeah, and then everybody's happy. Woohoo! Everybody's celebrating. Garrett is like, I'll follow you anywhere, woman, to Kate.
Mhm. And, like, Aro tries to make nice. He's like, "Oh, Carlisle, like, I'm glad we can leave as friends again. Like, good. So glad it was all a misunderstanding." And, like, Carlisle, I'm impressed that he is, like, coldly like, "Maybe we will be friends if you prove yourself a friend again in the future," or something like that. Because I would have, like,
Yeah.
caved. Like, I would just been like, "All
Oh
right, bye,
yeah. Oh
buddy.
yeah.
Like,
Like bye.
love you. Kiss, kiss."
We should get together sometime.
We should do lunch. We should Olive Garden? Olive
Yeah.
Garden? You bring Esty in the boat? All right.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay, so we have the happy ending. Bella gives in to calling Renesmee Nessie, which I hate. She also like figures out how to like let Edward read her thoughts for like brief periods of time. So she can like show him how much she loves him or whatever. And I was like, do you realize like he will divorce you in like half a decade? Like if you keep this up, Bella.
Right. You
Like
can't pull this
you
shit.
can't keep this up. This has to
Oh,
be like very
sweet
limited
child.
because
Yeah.
woof. Yeah. And then like Noelle is like staring at Nessie and like Bella thinks it's like, oh, it's like it's because she's the only like female of his kind that's like he's not related to. Like it's so fucking creepy. And I was like, the nerve of her to think that when Jacob exists. Like the nerve.
Listen, at least there's only a 16-year age difference
Yeah.
with Jacob instead of 150, which like
Yeah,
again though the
oh my
nerve considering
God.
that Edward exists, like
Yeah. Just yeah. But then Edward is like, no, he's staring at you because like he felt bad about killing his mom and like you're the first mom he's ever seen survive. So like he's begun to forgive himself or whatever.
which
Anyway.
fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah. And Edward specifically is like, wow, I'm impressed that Jacob didn't think about how he only has to wait 6.5 years to fuck Nessie. And I'm like, why is that impressive? It's the bare minimum. It's the bare minimum.
Again, once again, like, why did you do that, Stephenie? You know what would have made sense if it took 150 years for Renesmee to reach full maturity. You could have done that instead.
You could have done that. At the very least 18 years, please. Please.
I know.
I just like and the implication of that is that they're all going to be like once she turns 8, when she like turns 7, right? And she like is like fully bodily grown, they are essentially going to be okay with her getting with Jacob when she is 7 years old. Like I don't care how mature you are. I don't care if she does have a developed prefrontal cortex.
Right.
Like she only has 7 years of life experience and they've all been with her family. She's literally never experienced anything else.
No, and neither is Jacob. Like,
yeah.
Like, not that makes it like better, but like it's just insane to think about like all these people. It's like that quote that I still can't get over. Like it's when Jacob's like, for a second, I felt like a tiny little boy who never left his tiny little town. And like, yeah, because you are. Yeah, you are, and so you will remain. Apparently, you won't even go to fucking Dartmouth. New Hampshire is too far. Like with those same people, like or let Nessie go. I guess she can't travel.
No.
Listen, at least other people's pets. Other people outlive their pets. At least she'll have her pet forever.
What the fuck?
I don't know.
Anyway, so the book ends with Edward and Bella fucking, and in order to distract Renesmee while they're fucking, they give her the golf ball sized. They give her a choking hazard. They give her the golf ball diamond necklace to play with, so that you know what? If she did start choking on it, they wouldn't notice. They'd be
probably digest diamonds. Yeah, yeah.
Just like God. Okay. Anyway, the end. That's the end.
Woohoo! Yeah,
this book is like even more fucked up than I remember.
It's so fucked up, and like, I just, yeah. And it's like because I did read it at such a young age, so it's like I'm sure all of this seems less weird than it otherwise would. Unfortunately, you know what I mean.
I'm sure it'd be like, even more fucked up
if you're seeing it fresh. If you could somehow like lobotomize the part of your brain and then like
if I had like read this. I read this after my brain for the first time after my brain had been developed, like it would have been a whole different ballgame.
Oh, absolutely. Even like reading the first 3 books like at a young age and then like waiting to read this one. Woof.
Woof.
Anyway, it really is just like
God. All right. There's a cat sitting behind me, waiting to be fed. Speaking of cats, Cat Scale, the last book in the Twilight Saga.
We get the cat POV. It's balanced out by the dog POV. But
that's true.
Overall,
our main character becomes a cat. Like
our main character becomes a cat. Yeah. There's lots of more cats.
Mountain lions make an appearance on the page. Jaguars are mentioned. I feel like the Volturi having a choreographed routine is very cat-like, you know.
Absolutely.
Like the drama of that is very cat-like.
Absolutely. It's like that like cat show on the cat show. I don't know. Whatever. Yeah.
What?
Remember the cat show on Netflix?
And the cat documentary.
And they had like the
about
fancy
how,
cats. Yeah, that like
the cat,
perform, the
cat
performing
acrobatic
cats.
show or whatever.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
3,
2,
2,
1,
8.
10.
Wow.
Listen, Twilight. It's the OG. What can I say?
Number 9.
A big good 9-0.
A big 9. Big 9.
Big 09.
Hey, Rachel, where can they find us?
Well, Allison, they can find us on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at We Read It One Night. You can also find us on Twitter at We Read It Podcast. And also check us out on Redbubble. Check our merch out on Redbubble at We Read It, One Night. Also, please rate and review anywhere you listen. Spotify and Apple Podcasts definitely have that capability, but anywhere else that you can do that, that would be amazing. And make sure
Lots of other places have it. Lots of other places have it. So don't be a Volturi.
Go review in a hurry.
Be a Kate and Garrett. Don't be an Edward and Bella. Be a Kate and Garrett.
Be cool.
Don't be lame. Be cool.
Shock us with the number of reviews.
Yes.
Be a revolutionary. Be a romance revolutionary. Hey.
Yeah. Hey.
All right.
Okay.
And on that note, Godspeed, comrades.
Godspeed.